My name is Waylon of the Elephant Journal, and I'm here with my longtime buddy, Steven.
Hello.
What have you been up to lately?
Oh boy. Well, last 3 years we've been working on Onda Wellness, which very much started as an experiment, but
So very simply, what is Onda?
the word, or what is the company?
The company.
We produce regeneratively farmed, organic, and biodynamic.
Like the worst Vanna
products.
White ever. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we're really focused on how we're farming and how we're making this, and we're trying to be a part of bringing back this ancient medicine. It's hemp, it's cannabis, and it's healing people.
So a lot of people, definitely including myself, get confused. So it's CBD. It's not pot. It's not marijuana, right?
Correct. It's the federal government is defining hemp as being under 0.3% THC by volume.
And THC is the
THC is what's the more psychoactive component cannabinoid, one of like over 110 cannabinoids. That's the one that people are getting high from.
Right.
And so we honor the whole plant. So there are trace amounts of it, but it's under 0.3.
Could you go on check this through TSA on a flight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is
it depends where you're landing, I should say.
Uh-huh.
So domestic.
But within the U.S.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. A live demonstration. It's legal on
Instagram. So
Instagram.
relaxed now. So cool.
Yeah. I'm caffeinated, as you can probably tell. So Onda. So we've done a bunch of interviews with CBD companies. We've tried to pick the very few. It's this whole CBD gold rush, who are trying to do it with integrity, do it mindfully. What would you say about Onda makes your company something we should trust or support?
Yeah, I'd love to just touch on what I was exposed to in the past, which was I worked as a director of business development for Jackrabbit Hill Farm in Western Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And they really turned me on to biodynamic farming. They're Demeter certified. And so that working on a large scale ranch, working for an organic vineyard and farm in Napa has really always been at the heart of what we're doing, because this is an ag product. This is a value add product that's coming from the ground. So
when you say ag product, it's a farming product.
Well, yeah, it comes from a farmed good. It comes from the earth.
Right.
And the way that I was taught and the way that we were running this company is that Jackrabbit Hill, Caprock, and all that was that you have to start with the highest quality product, and that starts with farming. And so we have partnered up with really progressive, really talented farmers that are using this as a rotation crop. It's not monocrop. There's no plastic. They're using hemp in with other medicine crops.
What do you mean no plastic? Like in the actual process of farming?
Yeah. So honestly, I would say, I don't have hard numbers on this, but 90% or more of the hemp that's being farmed is farmed with plastic it's a plastic mulch as a ground cover to suppress weeds.
Mm-hmm.
So you have acres, hundreds of acres, who knows how much of this petroleum-based plastic in the soil, on the soil, and then it gets chopped into the soil if they're not careful with it.
Right.
And we're trying to avoid these things, but people don't really know that.
So if you're trying to be zero waste-ish, then CBD or any farm crop, you have to be aware of that.
Right? Yeah, I mean, it's like how they grow strawberries. There are a lot of strawberries.
Right. Or wine, right? There's tons of that cover to keep the birds off.
Oh, that's a netting thing.
But isn't the netting
plastic?
Nylon.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to, in a time where people don't even know what CBD is yet, we're trying to find that balance between communicating what it is, why it's helpful, how it can help change your life, but also kind of running ahead and saying, we're not going to let this slip down that nasty commodity industrial slope of using all these.
That's what's so exciting to me.
Yeah.
So with my over caffeination, if you're only here for a minute, I just want to say this is, in the whole gold rush, everyone's trying to make money off of CBD. This is a company that's organic practices, right? Biodynamic, whatever the heck that is, it's beyond organic.
Yeah.
Is the short story. It's in glass, it's actually with integrity. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, we're trying. I mean, we really.
And this isn't a commercial. I'm doing this editorially. If I can think of a criticism, I'll gladly I'll share.
I mean, there's plenty of places that we can grow and improve.
Yeah.
But we really look to like Dr. Bronner's and Patagonia and these other companies that are setting the standard really high. We want to bring health to our consumers and our employees and the earth. I mean, our mission statement is to heal the people, empower the farmers, and regenerate the earth. So we follow those pillars with everything we do.
Let's talk about regeneration for a second.
Okay.
So there's actually 3 out of the 20 Democratic political candidates have talked about regenerative farming as a part of the solution to fight climate change, which kind of blows my mind that political candidates are even talking about this.
Right.
What is the excitement? You know, you work with Kiss the Ground. We've interviewed them. You work with who else in that space?
I reconnected with Philip from Mad Agriculture.
That's right.
I used to work with Savory Institute when I was working as a photographer. So kind of bringing together all these great entities, and hopefully we can team up.
So for those who don't know, what is regenerative farming? What is the power of that to actually reverse climate change, which is kind of magic?
Yeah, so if you think about a lot of the industrial agriculture since World War II or the past X amount of years has been all about efficiency, profit margin, productivity at the expense of the soil. So you're really, it's all about their take.
And why should we care about soil?
You know, the
soil. Like, why do I care about dirt? You know, I care about me.
Yeah,
that's what the average consumer says.
Right. We need healthy plants. We need healthy food. We're going to start seeing a lot of more health issues, and obviously with the amount of carbon we're putting into the air, we need to start thinking about or continue to think about ways that we can battle that.
And the soil actually creates the nutrients that you're eating or ingesting.
Yeah, and in fact, hemp is a remediation crop. It's an extractive plant, so it soaks up. So they're using hemp in China to clean up a lot of toxic soil.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to, one, pay attention to where you're getting your product, but two, anything that's in the soil, the hemp is soaking up. So you need to make sure that not only do you have really clean soil, but I mean, it has to be pristine. This is
so exciting to me. Like, so it's the same thing with sunflowers and turmeric. They absorb all the toxins in the earth. So if it's not organic and you're drinking your like $8 turmeric latte, you're actually sucking up all these toxins. So it has to be organic.
Yeah.
If you're doing CBD and it's not organic.
And certified. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's great. You can go to the farmer's market. You can look your farmer in the eye, shake their hand, and say, "Okay, I trust you. You're not using any nasty stuff." But if you're buying it off a shelf and you don't know the farmer, how are you? I mean, people are throwing around organic all over the place. So our farms are certified Demeter, Biodynamic, and organic.
And Demeter is the measurement of biodynamics?
It's the certifying body that certifies biodynamics in North America, all over the world, really.
And so you were saying one of the farmers, like in your video on your site.
Yeah, Jim Fulmer, he wrote the North American standard for Demeter. And so we're buying hemp from him.
Right.
I mean, he has a 10-foot rows between his hemp crops with grass. Most people are cramming them in, trying to pack in as many hemp plants as they can. So he's keeping the integrity of the soil, which is enabling carbon sequestration. So granted, this is on a small scale, but
so carbon sequestration is literally sequestering, putting the carbon back, or keeping it in the soil.
Yeah,
which is good for the plant and reverses climate change.
Yeah, that's the hope, right? That's the goal. So instead of
tilling and breaking it up.
And there's different ways to do it. I mean, we don't want to be dogmatic or like super rigid, but we're experimenting with
I do, but
this. We're working on it. We're experimenting with this high level of farming because there's a climate component here, and if we can scale this up and see, we're using hemp as a rotation crop. It's not monocrop. This isn't like one farm is only hemp. They're growing vegetables, root vegetables, flowers, herbs. They're using polycultures, chickens, cattle,
and
pigs.
then all of that enriches the soil.
That's regeneration, to get back to your point. It's building soil health and vitality on the farm. If you bring in some waste scraps from another farm, cool. If you need to use this on the other, that's your deal. But the point is not relying on all of the outside, right? I made this analogy when we were chatting the other day. Like, the goal as a human, I think, would be to be in balance and full and complete and healthy to the point where you're generating positivity, you're generating love, you're generating in abundance, and you're giving it out instead of being like, oh, I need this, I need alcohol, I need all these inputs to make me level. That's not the best system, and that's how these farms are. They're relying on all these inputs because it's dead soil. But if we can work with this microcosm, this one system to generate, and hemp is just a part of it. That's the beauty of it. That's the goal, and that's what we're doing with our farms right now.
Cool. I'm crushing on you right now. That is very exciting stuff. Oh, I love it, because if like we could all do
what
that.
I can get.
Well, like you were talking about before, like the addictive quality, we all have the speediness, and you're like, I want this, I want that, especially on Christmas, right? I want this. If you can relax, which this can help with, right? And then you can start saying, what's actually good for me that helps me give back to the world and give back to others.
Instead of just being a taker,
instead of just it being me. Like in Buddhism, we say the mantra of the ego is, what about me? What about me? What about me? What about me? And that's honestly how me and a lot of people go through life. We're like, but we can relax. I love it.
At least nuggets of it. I mean,
Yeah.
the reason people are consuming this, I don't know if you want me to get into that at all, but
What is it for? Sure.
Yeah, right.
What's it good for?
Our body, we have an endocannabinoid system that was discovered 30-ish years ago.
And what the heck is that?
So,
we've talked about it in other videos, but just briefly.
Yeah, sure. So we all know people that somehow happen to always be even keel. Mm-hmm. And I love and am happy for those people, but for the rest of us that have anxiety or our minds race when we can't sleep or we have inflammation or things like that, your endocannabinoid system turns on and then it produces cannabinoids in the body. And so those cannabinoids get broken down. So when you're supplementing with this is a whole hemp oil that's high in CBD. Your body is able to function on that higher level so that you can get back to homeostasis. The whole point of that system is to get you back to center line. Mm-hmm. So when you're supplementing,
so it helps you just come back to your kind of center.
It reduces inflammation. I mean, I don't know. I can't say it's non-FDA approved, right? I can't make claims, but that's why people are using this product.
But it's effective with healing generally.
Totally. And I mean, I used to be on anxiety medication, which is just, a horrible thought. And I struggled with the ego component to that. And I truthfully
What do you mean struggled with the ego component?
Well, it sucks to be on medication, because
so you feel bad about it.
Well, I was like, I went through this process of thinking, I'm flawed or I don't need this or, why am I on this, right? But, that was that phase and that's what it was. And I've worked with this and meditation and all kinds of other stuff and, haven't used any of that stuff in over a year.
Well, that brings us to the Genesis story. So you were like on a flight, you weren't feeling good, right?
God, something it was like 3 years ago last week. And I don't remember where I got it. I had some CBD rich oil that I mixed with some herbs and tea. And I was like, well, now's the time to try it. I had slept a couple hours. I was flying from California back here to Colorado for the holidays. I was sick. I was tired. I just was out of sorts. And I was like, I'll take whatever I can get.
Right.
And I get on the plane. I was so relaxed. I felt that familiarity of the marijuana plant, that body sensation. I felt like the seat was way more comfortable than normal. I felt like I could sleep. And yet it was almost like an adaptogen where I could just kind of snap in and have a very clear, sharp conversation with the person next to me. I could read.
What's an adaptogen?
It's a plant or a product that helps you, basically works based on your needs, is my understanding.
But not a drug, really.
No.
Just it helps you kind of.
Yeah, it works with you based on your needs, is my understanding. I could be totally wrong. I'm sure there's people out there that are blasting me. But it had an adapting quality to it.
Yeah. No one blasts anyone on Elephant. Everyone's super nice in comments.
Yeah, we're all here to learn.
Yeah.
So
I winked with my wrong eye. They can see me wink. Yeah.
So
I do want to pause right now. If anyone has comments or questions for Steven, please ask them. And if you want to say where in the world you're from, that's always fun. We have people from just about every country on earth.
Yeah, and hopefully we can ship it to you.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We have no shortage of obstacles in being a part of the kind of first group wave coming through this. But
the whole relationship between the government and CBD is still weird.
Yeah,
even though it's not a drug.
Yeah, it's a lot of
complicated.
Yeah, I mean, the farm bill that was passed at the end of last year, about 12 months ago, opened up hemp legally, federally. There's some states that have opted out that are 0 THC. I think Idaho still is, and South Dakota. But we have a myriad of other challenges. But the bottom line is when we get an email from someone who says they haven't slept this well in 2 years, or their kid isn't having seizures anymore, or their uncle isn't shaking as much because his anxiety has dropped because he has Parkinson's, because of this, it's all good. We're in it for the long haul. So
that actually makes me think, because I'm always shaking. Probably coffee plus.
Yeah, I'm sure coffee doesn't
whatever.
help. This might. Yeah.
It might help. You kind of touched on it, but what is it like to try to start a mindful company that is actually doing everything kind of the hard way, the quality way, and to try to not necessarily just grow, but to be successful?
Well, we started this. I called my business partner, Annie, not long after that flight and said, I felt amazing. And I'm curious what you think about the exploration of these other cannabinoids as products, And so we started this as an experiment where it's just us. We've never had investors. We've pretty much bootstrapped everything. I Googled how to design labels and InDesign, like the autodidact thing really came into play here. And we've put it together.
How to start biodynamic
Yeah, how to
CBD
start a
company
business.
with very little money.
Oh my God. I think about, I feel like now it's like running in the
The little paperclip guy is like, I got you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No
problem.
He's since left, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh man, you're on your own."
Yeah.
It's like running in the deep sand on the beach. So maybe
Mhm.
someday we'll hit some hard pack, but you know, from credit card processing to Facebook, Instagram ads, there's all sorts of
You
challenges.
mean not advertising on Facebook and Instagram, which is like Zuckerberg, you know, taking over the whole world, supporting small independent media companies.
My phone
that's
is
what you were
listening
saying.
right now.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure I'm blocked.
Yeah.
You know, it's creepy Black Mirror stuff.
Exactly.
But yeah, we have a lot of obstacles in front of us, but it's super heart driven, and the environmental component, the farm component, it's all really different, and I think that it's here to stay. It's we've got more legs, we've got more depth in what we're doing, and also it performs better. I mean, you know, it can't just be about the story. It needs to be a better product, and that's the other thing. How we make it, we actually it's infused. So we don't use CO2, we don't use alcohol, we don't use any solvents. That process tends to extract, you know, the CBD and a couple other of its buddies. I'll put it that way. But we want the whole thing.
Right. So there's like 3 grades of CBD. Is that right? There's like isolate, which is kind of what you're saying.
Isolate's like emergency powder.
Yeah.
Right. We can make that analogy. A broad spectrum could be like a really processed orange juice, maybe.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if I say processed, but just broad means like CBD and a little bit of other nutrients. And then full spectrum, which is not a regulated term, so people slap that.
You're like hugging the tree and eating the orange while it's still on the branch.
Almost.
Oh.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing. Full spectrum, people are calling, even if it has more than CBD, it might have CBG, CBN, some other stuff like that.
CBDG. What were they? The band. CBG. DJ. What were they? I'm forgetting.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. It was the club. Yeah.
At the club. Yeah.
CBG. CBGB.
Thank you.
That was one of the cannabinoids.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Could have been fun.
The long lost. Yeah. We almost got it.
Oh.
But so full spectrum is that. But the thing is, you see products that are clear or yellow, so they don't have chlorophyll. They might have like alcohol extraction.
Chlorophyll is greenish.
Yeah. So
it's like actually from the plant.
Correct. It's a green plant, so why wouldn't your product be green?
Right.
So yeah, that's the whole thing. We're like fresh squeezed juice. We really honor the whole plant, all the nutrients, like terpenes. Just terpenes are going to start kind of coming up, I think, in the next couple of years. They have independent medicinal value.
Terpenes are part of the.
That's what gives it the smell and the flavor. And so someone says, "Oh, it smells like weed." It's like, well, that's actually like an arrangement, a symphony of terpenes.
Right.
For example, beta-caryophyllene, or I'm probably mispronouncing that. That exists in black pepper as a compound. It also exists in our hemp and in cannabis products. Linalool, limonene, those exist in lavender and citrus. So these compounds, like, there's a reason why people are, you know, smelling lavender. It has a calming sedative effect. That terpene is what makes lavender smell like lavender. That terpene also exists in cannabis. So
you're saying keeping that helps with the effect that you're going for.
Yeah, I mean, why did this plant produce so many nutrients? It's so generous and diverse. Why would we only focus on the CBD? Right. So we want to honor the whole plant.
So it's not only like pesticide free, which is rare. It's coming out of good soil, which is rare.
Yeah.
With the wide rows and the, what do you call them, the cover crops, right? But it's the full spectrum or beyond.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we're pioneering. What we're trying to follow this path of differentiation. Farming, not only to benefit the farmer, the quality of the product, but also the earth. Right. And then the way we make it, it's kind of like when I worked in wine. There's people that really process wine because it has to fit this very narrow thing. And then there's like the natural winemaking, which is like, we honor the whole.
And it's like funky, it's inconsistent, but it's kind of amazing. It's
we wouldn't go that far as to be inconsistent and funky, but we do want to honor like the whole.
Yeah, there's just a great article, Natural Wines in New Yorker, and they're talking about the wines can be kind of drunk in a way. They can be kind of all over the place.
Yeah,
and that's part of what's great about it.
Yeah.
So let's touch on the farmer thing real quick. Do you want to touch on that, or farmers?
We have quite a few questions.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, let's briefly touch on the farm, because that's a huge part of your story. So you have this idea, you call your business partner, then how do you connect with this? How do you find a biodynamic farm?
Okay, so Lance Hansen from Jackrabbit Hill Farm, like I said, they taught me so much about biodynamic farming. from the beginning, we wanted to source that out, and it's taken us till this year to really line that up. So, for example, Chris and Kate Houstad and Chris Cassad from Cassad Family Farms in Central Oregon, look them up. They are all stars. And, they basically, I think, came to us, and we spoke this spring about putting some seeds in the ground and going for it. And so we have this direct connection with people that, like,
and they were into it.
Yeah, and it's all an experiment. Like a lot of people planted hemp this year. The market price of hemp dropped. We're honoring the pre-arranged price, which
so you're paying a lot for your quality product.
Yeah,
I don't mean
we're paying more. We're paying more than the market price. That's what we agreed to, and that's our mission statement.
Everyone else, we were talking about this. We talked about this with Alex of Uncanny as well. When one of our other CBD videos, everyone's sourcing their hemp from the same kind of pile, right?
Well, I think what's
Not
happening is
everyone,
that
a
people
lot.
that are in the commodity and industrial ag market, which is why this is so crucial that we bring awareness to this, because we don't have to go that way.
Yeah.
I have people calling me all the time that want to sell me hemp that I know, and I was like, wait, I thought you had a deal, and he's like, yeah, they backed out. So the people are just playing the commodity game, buying the cheapest stuff they can find. Right. That doesn't build long-term relationships. That doesn't build trust. That doesn't build soil health. That's not what we're about. So we're avoiding the commodity thing by committing to our farmers.
Right.
And the other thing is that most of these brands, it's probably like some hipster in New York designing a logo and then just sourcing everything from providers, producers, So you have these labs and facilities that can white label and just crank out all this product.
And people are literally doing that.
So it's cool. Like it'll all get kind of shaken out and the cream will rise to the top, but that's not what we're doing. We're really trying to get more vertically integrated and connect with specific farms and then make it our particular way, hoping that we have more control and consistency. And
I really honor that with you guys. You said it's cool. I would say it's super uncool. It's sort of like we were getting lunch, and you're like 90% of the restaurants you go to are sourcing, they're getting food out of the same Cisco truck.
Yeah, it's Mexico or wherever.
It's the same with hemp. It's like if you're actually making a relationship with some amazing farmers who are taking the trouble to do it right and to reinvent the wheel, because a lot of that learning has been lost almost.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's like if when I worked a little bit in ranching or in other value add agriculture products, all of a sudden you're on this ocean liner trying to convince someone why it should be different, and you can't turn that boat. But this,
you're talking about like food, big ag,
totally almonds, dairy, cattle, whatever it is. It's this momentum of like conventional agriculture, subsidy, all this stuff,
factory farming,
and right now it feels like we're kind of looking at like the coast is clear. I mean, granted, there's lots of commercial influence this year. A ton of people planted, so it's just that it could slip and will slip a lot of it into the same industrial commodity systems.
Right.
Our goal is to offer a product to the consumer that they can afford, that makes sure the farmer is getting paid, because their inputs to grow something are always like this. And then the market goes like this. They could literally lose money, and it always falls back on the farmers and they get the short end of the stick. Right. So we're trying to basically rage against that machine and be anti-commodity, anti-industrial farming, and it just feels like there's a chance.
Love it.
Cool.
Yeah, and there's such a small chance. Like I think I've done like 5 CBD interviews, right, with the best companies I can find, and even some of those companies, right, are experiencing this tons of investment and growth, and they're getting more conventional and less like whatever you call it.
Yeah, I mean, it could be delusions of grandeur. It could be idealism, but I mean, it now feels like
No, that's not my point. I think you're doing an amazing job. I just think like, even though it's such a fresh market, it's still immediately heading toward capitalism, which is like not evil, but it's just what it is. It's not about quality.
I hope that everyone can still profit and feed themselves and heal people. And I mean, we're going to try.
Yeah.
Because it's a clean slate, kind of. Yeah. So that's why it feels optimistic.
All right, now time for question round. So if you have questions, ask questions. Vanessa's looking on Instagram and Facebook. She's very busy. And Erin might have a question or two from your Facebook page if you look.
Yes. Okay. So
just loudly,
you touched on this, but thoughts on need for fair pay for ethical farmers up against subsidized industrial model depleting soil and human biome health?
Yes, totally relevant. So that goes back to our pre-agreed upon rate that we're paying per pound for our hemp that was negotiated with our dear friends and farmers to say, okay, we think we can cover our costs. we can pay for proper farming. We don't have to put plastic down because we can use maybe the man and woman power or whatever other techniques. So I think it's a great question or comment, and it comes down to getting transparency and visibility into the relationships with the farms, and the farmers speaking up and saying, I got screwed this year because X, Y, and Z people bailed on me because they went to a cheaper producer. So I think we have to think long-term arc, and we have to think about what health and benefit is for the buyer, the purchaser, the consumer, but also the farmer, their community, and the environment. And if we can address all those points and still everything shakes out, then we're good.
Yeah.
So that's the goal, and that's what we're working on. And we think we need to bring a lot more awareness.
But that's
to
hard, right? That's got to be stressful.
It's super
You're
hard.
paying way more for a way better product.
Thank God this is what I have by my bedside. I mean, it's like we look at Patagonia and disruptive companies, and we think that's fantastic and that's what we want to do. Oh my God, they must have so much money in the bank, right?
Yeah.
So we're already putting ourselves at a disadvantage by being in this industry with all the things I mentioned. Plus, we're making it harder, but it's penciling out. And if we can get consumers to vote with their dollar and help support the direction of this industry, even if it's our little segment of it, like everyone wins, you know? So we're trying.
One question down. Thank you.
Okay. Question from Casey. Stephen, I am starting a medical dispensary in Maine, and I'm interested in what your biggest challenge might be for you in Colorado. So we're getting from farms in Colorado and Oregon. I've been bouncing between California, Oregon, and Colorado. Our biggest challenges, gosh, I don't know where to start.
In Colorado, specifically?
She's in Maine.
So we don't sell in dispensaries because we're under 0.3%, so it might not be as relevant of a response. I would say that education is a challenge. It's like people can come into a store, they try on a shirt, they like the color, it fits, it's a shirt, they buy it. The conversations that I have at events, festivals, lectures, whatever, about what all this is extremely time consuming, it's challenging, it's great, it's just a lot and it's hard. So I would say that one of our biggest challenges is managing the kind of 101 education on what CBD is, how it can help you, and then also having these a little bit more forward-thinking or abstract conversations, not abstract, but conversations about the environmental impact, the farming, and things like that.
Yeah.
And then I also think, actually, one of the biggest challenges is misinformation. You know, people just throwing stuff out there that's just not right. You know, like even saying,
you mean companies?
Even saying cannabis versus hemp. Hemp is cannabis.
Right.
Like, why are we even? You know, it's of that family. So
we said, like in the Alex video, I remember, cannabis is the whole plant, right? And then there's hemp on one side, and there's marijuana on the other side, and it's divided by that 0.3 TH.
Yeah, and it's super great because like you could have a plant that is hemp seeds, and if it comes in hot, then it's marijuana. But if it comes in under 0.3%, then it's hemp. But biologically, it's the same thing. Right. So I mean, it's confusing for all of us right now.
It's pretty confusing.
Yeah, it's just hemp. So you're good.
Cool. Yeah, it's just hemp. No smoking. Okay.
And Aaron, if you have challenges you want to contribute, I mean,
I think the biggest challenge is from the consumer perspective, which is sort of where I'm coming from, the people, is being like, all we do is we see products on a shelf and we say, what has a cool label? We look at the label a little bit, like what are they about? And then we look at the price. And we rarely think about the packaging, like glass versus plastic. We rarely think about biodynamic, organic or not. We think we do, but we don't. We look at the price. So honoring the farmer, honoring what you're trying to do so hard, honoring a company that's not, just about quarterly profits. I think that isn't happening enough. Obviously, there's a lot of activists who are probably watching who are amazing.
It's super hard for the consumer because, I mean, it's like you try to compare like this has this many milligrams for this amount, but then our stuff is more than just milligrams of CBD. That's the whole point. It's the whole plant. So you're getting all these other nutrients. So I think it's confusing for the consumers, and we're doing our best to try to educate and ride that balance. So I don't know if that was helpful at all for Casey, I think it was, but.
All right. Want some more questions?
Yeah. Well, if they're on different points,
They are. So people are asking if you have an ingredient list with your product.
Sure. It's just MCT oil for our tinctures, or coconut oil for our capsules, and hemp. That's it. So that's what's so beautiful about what we do. We don't break this down into the molecular level and then add a bunch of like glycerin and peppermint and all this junk to like rebuild a product. That's much more of a pharmaceutical mindset. We're infusing our hemp in oil. We use some water to agitate for particulate matter, soil, things like that. But we basically just soak it in oil, then filter it and put it in a bottle.
Yeah.
So,
and it's super simple, and it's also super rare to just keep it simple. Like Michael Pollan talked about, like never eat anything with more than 3 ingredients, right? So,
well, there's this mindset, and I do believe in technology, but there's this mindset of like using technology to improve upon nature.
Yeah.
And no doubt, it's a debatable.
that attitude might be connected with patriarchal attitude.
Go figure, right?
Not
We
sure.
can put a dam right here.
Yeah.
I
could improve on nature.
Yeah. So we're kind of honoring nature, and
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Keep it consistent, keep the genetics really high quality, the farming really high quality, and just don't screw up what the plant is giving us by over processing it.
Yeah. Or heating it or whatever. You can
Yeah,
mess
we
it
have
up.
to decarboxylate.
I'm thinking about like honey. Like you can mess things up
Sure.
by messing around with them.
Yeah, over processing.
Yeah. It's kind of a miracle that it's evolved. So how do you get that miracle in a way that we can consume?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a question from Instagram. I suffer
Hello,
from
Instagram.
extreme chronic pain from multiple sources, and I've tried many products to no avail. Can you make a suggestion on what I could try?
That's a hard thing for me to answer, but I would say that our starter kit was created so that folks that are new to our product can sample the liquid, so the tincture, the 25 milligram capsules, as well as the 50 milligram capsules. And that's a way for you to start small and work your way up. And then hopefully you can find a dosage that works really well for you. And then also just anyone, just message us. It's Stephen, STEPHEN, at Onda Wellness, ONDA. But we can put all that stuff up, and we'll just connect and be more specific and try to help you.
Yeah, it helps get way more specific, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But you don't want to do that. I get it over.
It's just hard to say. I mean, it depends on what dosage they were taking prior, and what the symptoms are. Not that I'm a doctor or physician, but the starter kit's a good place to begin, because you can kind of work your way up, and hopefully our stuff relieves some of your pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're not really allowed to say it, but with all the companies we've talked with, there has been really life-changing results for people with some chronic conditions and seizures or.
The anecdotes are plentiful.
Yeah, they're amazing.
And on Facebook, Colleen was wondering if you work with animals at all and have any suggestions where to go look for pet seizures.
Oh, I thought when you said work with animals, and I was like, yes, that's what helps build our soil. Yeah, maybe not your cats and dogs. So supposedly
you rotate cats and dogs around the farm, right?
Dude, herding cats, I tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Weird visual. So I would say our pet product, which is actually the same oil that we use for the human grade, because we found in our research that people are using a lower quality product for the pet products to increase our margins and all the other stuff. And we decided that that wasn't quite fair to Redford or my dog Butch. So we kept it. We kept it at human grade. Now we have to hold it selfie style.
I just wanted to show my dog. I messed everything up. Vanessa, I need your help there. Yeah, thank you. Anyway, my dog's down there, and he's been cute. Yeah, so I find that super interesting. You mentioned that before. Thank you, Stephen.
I think
You're
that's
hired.
kind of.
I think you nailed it.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
I'll just sit tall.
As long as it's on you.
So
that they lower the quality for dogs and cats, because
your dog's not going to say anything.
They're not going to complain. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something we noticed. So that seemed a little bit.
So offering a
disingenuous.
quality product for your best friend is awesome.
Yeah, and supposedly dogs have more endocannabinoid receptors than humans do, and they tend to respond really well.
Right.
So with animals, just start small. Pay attention to what you're hoping your animal will get relief from, and then scale it from there. It's kind of a trial and error thing.
And I was asking you, but you can put it directly in the food, or if they're picky eaters, you can try to put it just directly in their mouth.
Yeah, as long as it gets down into the gut.
Yeah,
into the body. And topically, actually, we had, there were two different people that had dogs that had, I think, lupus, and so they had a lot of skin issues around the nose, and they were using it on the nose topically, and it helped regulate the scabs and heal up. So lots of anecdotes, like I said.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And one more question. Grassroots and consumer impact for tangible change versus waiting for bureaucratic intervention to prioritize beneficial regenerative farming.
Where's the question?
What's the difference? Okay.
Well, we're not waiting for anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we're here today. That's why I took a bunch of pictures at our farm. That's why people like Kate Havstad and Chris are very outspoken in what they're doing.
Who are those? Oh, those are the farmers.
Yeah. But we need help. We need help from consumers to spread the word. We need help from Kiss the Ground, Mad Ag, other companies partnering that can help amplify our voice, because we literally only grow this company every month if we can sell something. We have no piggy bank. We have no funding.
Right.
This is totally American bootstrap.
So get out there and support some mindful business.
So we're trying to do it through the resources that we have in our toolkit. Photographs, video. Watch our video. It's the Onda Farm video. It's on our website.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We'll put it in the blog as well if you're seeing it on our blog.
So it would be great if I guess some government help. I don't know what that really looks like, but we're kind of fighting a good fight at a time.
There's Onda. Yeah, thank you so much to you guys, and it's an honor.
Cool.
Steven, go get him. I think we covered it, right? Do you have other pressing questions? One final one for the road?
Let's see.
We got all the time in the world.
I heard, let's see, is pure CBD as good as anything else?
That's a really interesting question, because I think, not to get too out there, but what is pure CBD? Yeah. Pure CBD means,
like,
to
full
me,
spectrum.
Well, I mean, does that mean you're honoring the whole plant, or does that mean you're isolating it to a molecular level, like emergency powder? So is pure vitamin C emergency powder? In that case, that's not that interesting to me. In fact, there's research out of Israel that supports that the efficacy bell curve of the isolate is short, steep, and you got to take a lot of it. But when you take...
I actually understood that.
Awesome.
So you're saying, the isolate... What do you say? Capacity of the bell curve?
Well, the efficacy,
the efficacy. Yeah. So it's only useful. You can only get the benefits, right?
It's a shorter amount of time that it works, and you have to take a lot more.
Yeah.
So last I read, for children with epilepsy, it was like 1,000 milligrams of isolate. Well, with our stuff, it's been proven the whole plant. You need less of it, and it works on more of an arc. So just think of it this way: CBD,
there's less of a high kind of.
CBD needs its teammates. It needs the other cannabinoids, it needs the chlorophyll, and it needs the polyphenol. It needs the plant stuff. It just needs the plant stuff. So when you strip all that stuff away, we believe that you're dropping the efficacy. So
why wouldn't you just eat hemp then or something?
You can. Like my buddy, my friends in California are working on juicing it. You can do that.
But why even juice it? Like what? Because juicing is the same kind of thing. You're taking out all the fiber. You're getting the sugar high. You're not getting all the...
Sure. If you can access and continually get access to good, clean hemp, and you can eat it, go for it. I mean, I think that's great, but this is a little easier to travel with,
right?
Or it's a little easier to kind of get your consistent dosage, how much you're consuming.
But the basic principle of the closer it is to how it evolved, you're going to be getting all these benefits that will help you take it in.
Yeah, it exists all across the universe. It's synergy. Wow. It's the effect of holistic synergy. It's the effect of something working together as a whole. Right. So I imagine the nutrients on a grid, right? It's like this structure is transferred into this. We don't break it apart and then try to rebuild it. We try to honor the structure and then put it in the product. Mm-hmm. That's our belief. I don't know.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it, but that's the concept we're working with.
Love it. Good?
Yes.
All right.
Cool.
Keep it up.
Thanks,
really
everybody.
Do support them, because these kind of small, I was saying, I think before the video, these kind of companies that are trying to do stuff with integrity, they actually own themselves. These are the true unicorns. They're so rare. And if you're a business owner or you want to start a business similar to Onda in any field, I always recommend Small Giants, the book. It's the only book out there that is about this kind of business. I don't mean CBD, I mean about a company with integrity. That is, and it covers 18 different businesses. So Steven, thank you so much for your time. And let's go support Onda. All right.
Thank you.
Still got tons of viewers. Let's just hang out.
Oh,
Yeah,
We're
go
also
ahead.
1% for the Planet member, and I should
1% for the Planet, great organization, and
Yeah.
all the members are great to check out. So just check out their
They're
list.
such an amazing family. Yeah.
Another question just came in.
Cool.
Do you,
Yeah.
with Casey, do you fall under a state regulated testing process, or are you able to use private testing?
It's private as far as I know. Yeah, we use third-party lab tests for everything, in the field, and then also when we produce it and then when we sell it. So
Cool.
Yeah.
And email if there's any
Yeah, we
like,
have
super
the-
specific questions.
yeah,
email
and we
us
have
too.
our lab reports most of them are on the website, or we're uploading them right now. That was one of our tasks of the new year. But we'll send them to you. They're super clean and they're full of a bunch of other nutrients, so you can see that.
Cool. Well, thank you, Casey. Thank you, everyone, for commenting, and thank you, Onda.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.